I had a friend. It was my husband's childhood friend, and I met him when I get married with my husband. And last year, one call, and they said, you know what, he died. What? How? I don't know. And no one said anything. We make calls and ask what happened. And after that, a friend tells us he died from AIDS.
It's not actually HIV that they're dying from, it's AIDS, which stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome, and this results from their immune system becoming so depleted that other things have the opportunity to make them sick.
He went to different hospitals and they don't want to help him because they said it's a contagious disease. Probably a lack of education over there. That's why they didn't want to help him. He was very sick and nobody can do anything about it because it was too late.
And they may show some things like fatigue and fever and swollen lymph nodes. They may have a rash, a body rash. And again, if they're not sure what this is related to, they may not think that it's HIV.
And he didn't want to say anything. I don't know why. That's some questions I'm never gonna have answered.
Because there's always that fear, that fear of rejection, that fear of letting someone know their HIV status. Will they still love me? Will they still care about me?
I'm not ugly, I'm not horrible, I'm not all those things. I'm a regular human being who made a mistake.
I work full-time doing HIV prevention. I've been living with HIV since 2003, and I got it from my primary partner. And he didn't tell me he had it, but I didn't ask.
I could be next. You could be next. He or she could be next. Everybody could be next.
This is anybody walking down the street. This is pretty much anybody this can happen to. I got HIV through sex. I found that I wasn't being very smart. I didn't realize, that I couldn't determine and sum up who has it and who doesn't by just knowing them. They don't have a particular look. They're not living in a raggedy lifestyle.
My boyfriend's friend gave me a ride home, and he asked if we used protection, and I was like, no. And he says, well, I don't when I'm with him either, and I have HIV. And I'm kind of going, okay, number one, didn't know he was sleeping with men. And number two, I had no idea that he had HIV. And when I called him, he even said, yeah, I had an HIV test done. He didn't tell me what the results were, though.
That's why I entered the program, because I want to know more about it. I want to know what is the big deal about this disease. And actually, when I found out, I was scared because I saw the ads on the TV and, oh, HIV, yeah. But like everybody, oh, that's not gonna happen to me.
The only way that you can know if you have HIV is to actually get tested. And you can go get tested at lots of different locations. There's local health departments throughout the state, as well as some community-based organizations.
The health department, they do a lot of testing everywhere, and I'm a volunteer there. And they do testing at clubs, and I like that. And I was always, I can do it, I can go, please call me, and all the time. Because a lot of people that go to the clubs, they are at high risk because they drink alcohol, and alcohol gets in your brain and make wrong decisions.
Unfortunately, I thought I was Superman and that it wouldn't happen to me, or part of it too was that I wasn't in those circles where that happens, where people can get that.
And I didn't know how easy it was passed from men to women. even in a monogamous relationship. Well, I thought it was monogamous. He didn't, but he never told me that either.
Every time we do testing, my heart pounding, I want to see a negative result. And when they are negative, I'm so happy.
So getting tested, no big deal. Doesn't hurt. And you know, the worst case scenario, you get treatment when you need it. And because once the immune system on the body goes down, these infections come in and they damage the body. And that damage can't be repaired. Your immune system can be built back up, but that damage is still there. And so if you catch it before it goes to that point where it damages your body, then you're able to live longer and healthier.
I feel good for one side of me. I feel happy because I can tell people, educate people. That's good. But I feel sad too because I can imagine my friend dying like that, all alone, and nobody wants to take care of him because they were afraid to get the infection.
I felt like even my imagination, my ability to really dream of things better had left. I felt very trapped, ugly even. It was pretty hard to look at my body that way, to look at my blood that way. It's poisonous. It made me feel very ugly. And it was hard at first to really see myself differently.
I'd be crying all the time, and then things would kind of mellow out, and I wouldn't think about it all the time, but then it hit me again. And so it wasn't like it was just all at once, all the time. It just kind of had waves where I was better, then not so good. There was a lot of depression. And then the thoughts of, you know, I'm dirty, I'm horrible because I got the disease.
It's important for everyone to have at least one HIV test in their lifetime to at least give them a baseline. To let you know, if they've never been tested before, it's a good idea just to know. And then, you know, if they're doing things to put themselves at risk, they should probably get tested more often.
I was diagnosed really early in my disease, which is really important. That's why testing is so important, because I got diagnosed early and they were able to watch and make sure that when I did get to a point where I needed to take medication, I was monitored and I could treat myself better.
Maybe I can save one person, and that will be great because if I save him, he will save another person, that person, another person. Is like a chain.
There is a period of time right after a person gets infected during which if they had an HIV test, it would be negative, even though they actually have virus. And the reason why is because the test is looking for something that your body has to make. It takes anyone, on average, about 6 to 12 weeks to make enough of these antibodies to show up positive on the test.
I thought it was a death sentence, a horrible death sentence, because I had been so sick. I didn't know that when you first contract it and you have it for a while, when it becomes active and you go through that thing called seroconversion, that you actually experience the end stages and then you get better and you're okay. The virus kind of goes dormant. It's very odd. I didn't realize at the time that I was going to actually feel better and get better. I thought this was it.
The first thought was, I'm going to die, because that's what everybody that I knew who had had AIDS had died.
It was sad for me to see intelligent men die from something that maybe is dangerous, but he could do something about it and live longer.
You know, there's no cure for HIV, and unfortunately, we don't have cures for any disease that's caused by a virus.
I was so ill that I couldn't walk a few feet from my couch to the door in my apartment. I literally couldn't get up. I remember the thought of food. I was so sick at the thought of food that nauseous at the thought of it, and I couldn't eat. I thought I was going to die just from starvation alone.
I don't want to scare anybody, but I want to people to know that this could happen. It's happened here around us, and probably will know somebody.
So give them a hug. They could probably use it. And hugging's so important. I get lots of hugs. I love getting hugs.
You can't get HIV from giving someone a hug or a kiss, or you can share your drink with them, you can share eating utensils. That's not a way HIV is transmitted.
There are 4 body fluids, and it's a direct blood-to-blood contact. HIV actually has to get into your bloodstream to infect. So it's a blood-to-blood contact, semen, which is the fluid that the sperm swim in, vaginal fluids, and breast milk. That's the only 4 body fluids that can transmit it.
But people who share needles for tattoos, who share needles for ear and body piercing, also can put themselves at risk.
This is a pandemic now. There is millions of people dying from this. And it's not just me. There's a lot of people working in this because they want to save lives. And I couldn't save my friend's life.
Anytime we think we're alone and we don't talk as human beings, we make our problems 10 times worse. If we're not willing to risk and talk to people and allow them in and allow yourself to touch emotionally, mentally, with words, what's going on inside of you, and be real about that, then you live in pain.
And if I tell my story, maybe somebody out there will watch it and go, ooh, maybe I'm at risk after all. Maybe I need to be tested.
We know we can prevent it, sexually, but it takes cooperation on both parties. And it also involves people disclosing HIV status, which sometimes can be very challenging.
I'm not stereotypical. I'm not who people would walk down the street and think, she might have AIDS.
If you don't protect yourself, you could be next. If you have any type of foolish notion that someone is going to look or act or come from a certain income bracket or lifestyle, that's only how you can get it, then you're mistaken.
You could be. Anyone could be. You never know for sure. That's why testing's important. But just taking care of yourself, because you don't know. It was a shock to me, and it happens though. So be careful. Take care of yourself sexually. Use protection. Ask questions. If you're going to be intimate with someone, that's a very intimate level of contact. If you're that comfortable to have intimacy with them, you should be that comfortable to say, have you had an HIV test? If so, what were the results?
Together we can do a lot. I would love to save the whole wide world, but I can't. And I'm doing my part. I feel good because I'm doing what I can. I feel like it's my responsibility to do it. Because if I know something, I need to share it.
You can live with it, but I would if I could go back and change the way I did things, I would. And if I had the opportunity to learn before I got infected, to learn a lot more about HIV, I would have taken that opportunity.
I like to think that I'm helping other people with their misconceptions. At the same time, I'm helping myself by embracing my own reality, walking in my own footprint and owning my shadow, just being who I am.
You can say, yeah, it's kind of not so great that I got it, but in a way it was a blessing. I'm now in school, I'm doing something with my life.
Probably he is saying, good girl. And thank you. Because in a way it's for him.